Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be sharing funny things that has happened to me over the years. Okay, let's go. Back in first grade, I didn't know what crushes were. I thought it was just really good friends. So in PE, when the teacher walked away, I stood up in front of all the boys in my class. And all the girls too, of course. And I pointed to each boy and I said, I like you, and you, and you, and you, and you. And I went through the entire class, besides from one boy. To this day, I still don't think, I don't know what I was thinking. And I feel so bad for that other boy, the last boy. I feel so bad. I just didn't say it. Another time in first grade, I had hiccups and I was waiting in line and all of a sudden I got hiccups and we were like an hour until getting back to the classroom because we had science time. So I went up to the front of the line and I was like, Mrs. like so-and-so, I have the hiccups and I want to go back to the class. And she paused me and she started yelling at me like, just because you have hiccups, you cannot go to the front of the line. No matter what, you understand me? That doesn't make you special. I was like, oh, I was just asking for my... She cut me off again. She's like, you know what? I don't want to hear it. Go to the end of the line. Oh. In second grade, on the first day of school, I was a tad bit late. And I was just meeting this girl named, like, so-and-so. And I sat down in my chair and in a random chair that I saw around the classroom because we had choice seating. I sat down and I started coloring with my marker, and this girl comes back up, and she's like, hey, I was sitting there. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I just got here. I'm a little bit late. And then she was like, well, I don't care. And then rest of the year, she continued to bully me and be really mean. Like, no, you can't sit there. You weren't nice. I don't like you. She told all my friends to stop being friends with me. Like, hello? What did I do to you? And one time I had her over for a little play date because she was acting all nice, and dumb second grade me actually believed her act. And she came over and we were playing Foursquare, and then I accidentally hit the ball too hard and it goes into one of my trees. And then she goes after my mom and it's like, Avani isn't being careful and she shouldn't be allowed to have the ball anymore. Right? And my mom is like, what? And then literally moments later, like 5 minutes later maybe, her mom comes to pick her up. And it's like 2 hours before she is meant to get picked up. And then her mom says, oh, she can't play today. I just found out some stuff and she's grounded. I later found out that she was bullying kids and the principal called her mom. Like, oh, busted. In third grade, there was tons of drama, and I just met a girl who I've known throughout the years that I've gone to elementary school, and she was known for being mean and a bully and sassy and rude, and not very many people liked her, but she was being all nice and sweet to me. And one time, it was recess, and she told me, hey, you have to play with me today. And I was like, I kind of want to play with my friend here. We've been waiting to play for a little while and stuff. And then she was like, no, you have to play with me today. And if you don't, then we aren't friends anymore. I was like, okay. And little dumb me who just wanted friends, lost all of them because this girl was forcing me to play with her. Another time, same year, we were in the bathroom together because she wanted to talk in the middle of class for some reason. So I was like, okay. And we went to the bathroom, and then she was like yapping about some stuff that was going on and yada yada. But then she goes ahead and says, no, it doesn't says actually. She says something mean, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't say that. That's not very nice. And then she takes some soap and she puts it in my eye. And I can't see at all. And my eyes are stinging and burning, and I want to tell someone, but I couldn't. Like, I couldn't see at all, and I couldn't find the bathroom door. And I told her, ow, it hurts, it hurts. She's like, haha, serves you right. And I walk forward, and I'm still washing my hands. I bumped into the sink, so I tried turning, and then there she is, and I get a little tiny spot of soap on her jacket, and she starts yelling at me. She runs out of the bathroom and goes and tells my teacher I purposely put soap on her jacket, and I told my teacher what happened. She's like, oh my God. And this whole story was going around, right? And this girl who's super mean and stuff, right? She lost her whole, what's left of her good reputation because everybody found out what happened. Another time, in the same year, grade 3, I was in the middle of class, and I was playing with my friend. The last day of school, mind you, and I was playing this this build-it-yourself card game with a friend that we had to be partners with. And throughout the year, we both had, drama surrounding by each other, and we were best friends and stuff. And we weren't that good of friends, but now we are. I just want to say that. So, basically, when we were doing the card game, we were arguing over who's doing what, and she got really mad, and she kind of threw the paper at me, harmlessly, and she didn't mean to or anything, and I didn't really think anything of it, I wasn't thinking anything of it, but when the paper hit me, it hit me with the corner, and the paper was a thick, more binder-like paper, so it hurt a lot, and it went into my skin. And it hurt so badly, and I started bleeding, and I went over to the teacher, and I was like, what do? I need a Band-Aid, and I was crying, and it was the last day, and she was like, I don't really want to deal with this on the last day. So she thought we were having a fight, and I tried explaining to her, no, I just want a Band-Aid, and then she was like, no, I don't think that's what happened, and you guys are just fighting again. And I was like, no, not really. And she was like, don't try arguing with me. And I was like, okay, I was. And then she was like, see, you're doing it again. And I was like, and then she proceeded to send me to the principal's office, me and her, and the rest of the last day of school, we sat for 6 hours in the office with no break and no snack. And our school doesn't even do detention. It was a freaking elementary school. We were 9-year-olds. In 4th grade, I decided to bring pink hummus to school. It's basically beetroot hummus. It tastes super good and I wanted to bring it because pink was my favorite color at that time. And I would bring it to school every day, and a couple of my friends would say, oh, that's gross, that's disgusting. And one of my friends actually smacked it off the table one day for absolutely no reason, just because she didn't like looking at it for no reason. It didn't have a bad smell. It was just slightly more, it was pinky, and it was a brighter pink, and it looked really pretty. actually. And I understand if people don't like it, but they can't do that to others. Like, at that time, we were literally just learning in class. Don't yuck somebody's yum. So, like, come on. In 5th grade, I was having, like, a hangout / playdate with one of my friends, and I wanted to go, my friend wanted to go to the bathroom, but she didn't know the way to get there. We were at the park, mind you. The quickest way to get there, I just told her the slowest way to get there. It was, like, down the stairs, around the corner, and then, so I went the opposite direction as her and was like, I'll just wait for you over there. And I started sprinting the fast way. And I went into the bathroom, and then what I was going to do was lock both stalls that were in there. And then when she walked in, scream at her, occupied, super, super loudly. But I tripped underneath the stalls, don't ask. Anyway, and then she walked in, and I got really overstimulated. So I just peed on the ground. Like, everywhere. And it was just, like, everywhere. But she still had to go to the bathroom. So she went to the bathroom in the stall that had the least pee on the ground, and yet it almost touched her foot. And the whole time while she was using the restroom, she's like, oh my god, it's near my foot, it's right there. It was so disgusting and so hilarious, and I feel bad for the janitor, because what if bro thought it was water? During 5th grade, we had something called 5th grade camp, and we went to camp for, like, 4 days, and we had Barnyard Boogie, which is basically kind of more like a fun, silly school dance, like it's a boogie, you know, and I was in the limbo line, because there's a bunch of limbo time, and behind me was one of my friends. Like, you could wear silly costumes or serious costumes or just an outfit. And my friend behind me, mind you, was a boy, right, was in a giant cow costume. It was kind of hilarious, right? And I was standing in front of him, and I was going under the limbo, but suddenly the person who was holding it moved, like, really abruptly, so I just kind of, like, ducked and kind of fell on the ground. So I hit my friend who was behind me, and the little bro just kind of toppled over in a giant cow costume. It was really, really hilarious, not gonna lie. Another time in the limbo line, I was waiting, and 4 different times, people either fell on me or I fell on someone. So that day I ended up humping 6 people total. And one of them being one of my best friends. She was so mad about it. It was kind of funny. This time it was also at 5th grade camp. Different scene though. It was during rec time. And basically there was like 3 schools there. One that was near the camp and was nearby, and it was their school trip. But the other 2 schools were my school and a school that was actually near us in the same city, so we kind of shared buses. And we all, and of course, all the schools thought they were the best school. Like, the school that wasn't nearby didn't know any of us, but the kids who were, we were like, oh no, we're the better kids. And I met this guy who had, like, these little, like, goons, basically, from his school. And everybody from my school, like, basically was like, trying to roast him at some point during the 3 days. We roast battled with him 3 days total, basically. And one of the days, I was, like, the leader of our school for some reason, just because I was the first person to meet them, pretty much. And we were, like, roasting them, like, my friend group. And all of a sudden, they said this really stupid roast, and I was kind of caught off track. So I started doing the sea lion. Like, don't ask how I already knew that trend. But it was basically considered like humping the ground at that point. So I was just being stupid, doing that. Yeah. One more time at 5th grade camp, it was the middle of the night, and I brought bean bags and a carpet. I was being big brain there. Smartest move, probably the smartest move I've ever made, pretty much. And I went, so I was the only one in our cabin who could, like, jump down from the bunk bed because they didn't have ladders, really. It was this weird, like, ladder on the side, and it was kind of stupid, but the side bunks had, like, a piece missing from their ladders for some reason. It was like that for all of the cabins, and it was kind of weird. But, so it was easy for me to jump down, and lights out was at 9:30, but our cabin leaders let us stay up late. W cabin leaders, if you're watching. Basically, we were all going to sleep at like 12, and then at 1, I had to use the bathroom really bad. So I jumped down from my bunk, but I tripped as I was coming down. So I just completely made like a loud falling sound. I was like, ow! And then everybody in the whole cabin just woke up like, what happened? Did she fall? And then I just got up, brushed myself off, and kept walking. It was stupid but hilarious. Honestly, camp was probably like some of the funnest, like 4 days of my entire life. It was hilarious, fun. There's so many jokes that happened. I actually found out that I was bi at camp. Not from like anything weird. It was just like someone accusing me of it and realizing I felt like that. So basically, camp was just a fun experience, and if there's anybody who's under 5th grade watching this, I would definitely tell you, just bring a beanbag and a carpet. Like, just trust me on this. And they aren't checking through your stuff to see what you brought, so definitely, if you can, bring makeup. Nobody's gonna care, really, even though you aren't allowed to bring it. Anyway, those are just some tips for camp. Anyway, that's gonna be all for today, guys. If you want to stay and watch me fail at TOH, go ahead and do that.
This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made.
Make sure to like and subscribe if you want a version for middle school.